Hello there, welcome to That's the Story. Gosh, we've got a lot this week. Last week of the term. What are you going to do on your school holidays? Ooh, I can imagine all of the possibilities. The beach, the sun, the sand, ice creams. Oh, I can't wait. Now, let's get into it. We've got a few things to get through today. Couple of songs, couple of stories, couple of ways for you to win some really awesome prizes. But first of all, here's a song that describes someone, and I want you to do something after it. Have a very good listen to this song.
I like blue because it reminds me of you. I like pink cause I think you are one of a kind. I like red cause you said it was a favourite of mine. I like green cause I've seen you wear it before. I like you. I like you. I like yellow, it's mellow, just like you. I like turquoise because it's kind of like blue. I like black because that's the colour of your top. I like tangerine cause you eat them a lot. I like you. I like you. I like beige at the stage cause it's the colour of your eyes. I like aubergine, it's the colour of your nails. I like khaki, simply it's the colour of your hair. I like watermelons, they're the shape of your ears. I like you. I like you. I like violet, the colour of your knees, and your stockings are the colour of a bumblebee. I like indigo, the colour of your feet, and I like magenta, the colour of your cheeks. I like you. I like you. I like elephants cause you've both got trunks. I like your chin shaped like a pineapple lump. I like your orange eyebrows and your big brown toes. I like your pink and purple polka dot nose. I like you. I like you.
That song described someone. I'd love you to draw a picture of what that person looks like. Have your teacher or your mum and dad take a photo of your picture that you've just drawn. Go to our website, that'sthestory.co.nz. Click on Contact Us. You can upload your picture from there. I will choose one picture to win a $100 art pack from Gordon Harris. There you go. How cool would that be? Now, speaking of cool, if you had a magic carpet, where would you fly to?
Something was afoot at the Barker's house. It was a Sunday afternoon and Granny had called round to visit earlier before popping out to church. Granny was fantastic at cooking and brought with her a huge plate of deliciously crumbly, moist, chocolatey Afghan biscuits. Each one had a glistening walnut on top and were lovely and sticky. They truly were delicious, thanks to Granny's secret ingredient. She always used a hint of fresh vanilla, although don't tell anyone I told you, as she'd go mad that her secret got out. Granny's visit was only 2 hours ago, and now the biscuits were nowhere to be seen. But where could they have gone? Mum was supposed to be watching her figure, although Dad always commented that it looked fine to him. She liked to go to something called Pilates every Thursday night, and could often be found puffing and panting in front of an aerobics video in the living room. Surely Mum couldn't have taken the Afghans. Then there was Dad. He always mocked Mum for having such a sweet tooth. He was supposed to be mending the back fence today. Well, he'd been promising to do it for ages, but Mum had put her foot down and insisted. Would he have pinched the Afghans? And what about Sam, who was supposed to be doing his homework? And Herbie the dog? Could they have taken the Afghans? Let's just see. There's Sam now, leant over his desk and doing his horrible maths homework. He certainly seems to be working hard enough, except What was that sly glance? Yes, that one. Right before he snuck his hand into the top desk drawer and pulled out an Afghan. He must have snuck into the kitchen and taken one when no one was looking. So what about Mum? She's lying on her side on the lounge carpet doing leg splits, wearing bright pink shorts. She's reading a magazine but looking awfully shifty. Aha! Under the double-page spread of the latest Shortland Street hunk, she's hiding 2 Afghans and secretly taking nibbles every 5 leg splits. Does that mean Dad is innocent after all? Far from it. There he is now, hunched over a can of varnish in the back garden. But look carefully. And yes, I thought so. 3 Afghans sticking out the pocket of his overalls. Yuck, they'll be all covered in fluff and paint. Keeping an eye on Dad was Herbie the dog. The Afghans were so incredibly tasty, they'd be wasted on him. So I didn't really think he'd pinch one. But look! There's a trail of crumbs leading to Herbie's kennel and definite chocolate smears around his mouth. So, it looks like everyone's had a nibble on Granny's Afghans. Well, let's hope she brings some more next week.
Now, when am I? I'm about to give you some clues. From those clues, I want you to try and guess what year I'm talking about. If you think you know the answer, head along to our website, that'sthestory.co.nz. Click on Contact Us and send me your answer from there. The very first correct answer I choose will win one of these 2 books. Listen very carefully. Here come those clues.
When in history am I?
On April the 12th of this year, the Jesse James gang robs a bank in Columbia, Kentucky. They get away with $1,500. On November the 7th, cargo ship the Mary Celeste sails from Staten Island for Genoa, mysteriously found abandoned 4 weeks later. On November the 30th, the first international soccer game was played. Scotland draws with England 0-0 in Glasgow.
When in history am I?
Alrighty, so if you reckon you know when it is I am talking about, pop along to our website, that'sthestory.co.nz, click on Contact Us and send your answer in from there. First correct answer will win one of these 2 books. Good luck!
Norbit and Milo's knock knock.
Hey Milo, what you doing? Waiting to show you this. No, knock joke, but... Oh, alright then. Knock knock. Who's there? Boo! Boo hoo! Don't cry, Norbit, it's only a joke. Ah, that joke's so bad it makes me want to cry for real.
Crikey, if you thought Norbit and Milo were weird, you wait until you meet Benny B.
Benny B was tired of living in a hive, always having to work, always having to buzz, and never getting a thank you. Benny B decided he would be much happier as a lone bee. That way he could do whatever he pleased. So one morning, he slept in. Well, he tried to. You see, his sister Belinda shook him awake. "Come on, Benny," she buzzed. "Today's flower day. You love flower day, collecting all that pollen." "No," said Benny. "Today's my day. I'm my own bee." Are you feeling okay, Benny?" Belinda asked. "Never better," he said, snuggling down into bed. "Now, off you go." So Belinda flew away. Benny wasn't sure what he was going to do with his day. He was awake now, and he wasn't sleepy enough to go back to bed. He couldn't go to the flower garden since that's where all the other bees were. And if he went to the games room, there'd be no other bees to play with. Benny's tummy rumbled. It's breakfast time, he decided. When Benny arrived at the breakfast hall, his 2 big brothers were there, preparing for their day. "Morning, Benny," Brian called. "What's Belinda buzzing about? She says you're not working today." "I'm not," Benny said proudly. "I'm my own bee." His 2 brothers didn't seem as shocked as Benny was hoping, to be honest. "Oh, really?" Bruce asked. I guess since you're your own bee, you won't need to eat the food the hive all worked together to collect. Oh, Benny hadn't thought of that. Nope, Benny said stubbornly. I only came down here to make sure you two had heard my plan. I'm heading off to get my own food right now, Benny said. And with that, off he buzzed. As Benny flew around, he decided he wasn't having a great day so far. Belinda had woken him up, Brian and Bruce had made him miss breakfast, and he was still having to look for food. Worst of all was the fact he was missing Flower Day, his favourite day of the week. Benny was feeling a bit sorry for himself all in all as he flew around. Maybe he didn't want to be his own bee after all. He was just about to give up and go home when, out of the corner of his eye, he spied something delicious. Just by the bank of the river, someone had planted a whole row of lavender. Benny zoomed towards it and started collecting as much pollen as he could. There was so much he was almost weighed down. The pollen from lavender was a high favourite, but there was no way he'd be able to collect it all by himself. Benny knew what he needed to do. Full of pollen, Benny flew over to the flower fields and found Brian and Bruce. I don't think I want to be my own bee anymore, he said. Oh, Benny, you're back. Here to help us gather pollen in the flower field, Brian said kindly. It was almost like he knew I'd be back, Benny thought. No, Benny replied. But maybe you and the rest of the hive would like to follow me and collect the pollen off a new bunch of lavender that's been planted. Lavender? All the bees' ears perked up. They were off. Together the hive made short work of collecting all the pollen and nectar from Benny's find. They were all grateful by the surprise treat, and there was no denying that Benny's morning of being a lone bee was the reason the lavender was found. But also, without working together, there was no way Benny could have collected enough all by himself. So Benny, did you have a good morning? Belinda asked him that evening as they feasted. It was all right, Benny replied. But I'm looking forward to all working together on Hive Expansion Day tomorrow.
If you would like me to do a shout out to you in your classroom, pop along to our website, that'sthestory.co.nz. Click on Contact Us, send me a message from there. It might be you I'm doing a shout out to next term. Now, what's Dippity Uppity up to?
Once again, Dippity Uppity was very excited. Dippity Uppity got excited quite a lot, but today was extra special. On the scale of exciting, today was a 1,000,003, because today Dippity Uppity was getting his very own Fligimy Boobar. Dippity Uppity was so excited that he'd woken up a whole 3 hours early. It was still dark outside, but Dippity Uppity couldn't sleep. Instead, he ran around the house, preparing for the arrival of the Fligimy Boobar. Getting a Fligimy Boobar was not to be taken lightly. Getting a Fligimy Boobar was a very big responsibility, and Dippity Uppity had lots of things to get ready. Dippity Uppity's very best friend Lionel had convinced Dippity that he was ready for a Fligimy Boobar. Lionel used to have one, but Lionel had to get rid of his as his apartment in the city was way too small. Dippity Uppity, on the other hand, had plenty of space at his house. He had a big garden with a trampoline and room to play his Digimy-What's-It, much to his neighbours' ongoing and growing discontent. Yes, Lionel thought that Dippity Uppity was perfect for Fligimy Boobar ownership, and Lionel had helped Dippity to pick out the best Fligimy Boobar from a pack of 12. Dippity Uppity set to work. He bought a brand new Fligimy Boobar basket. He took the old crocheted blanket that his auntie had made several years ago and folded it up inside. The basket was soft and cuddly, perfect for the Fligimy Boobar to sleep in. Dippity Uppity decided that the Fligimy Boobar could sleep in the kitchen. Fligimy Boobars were notorious snorers, and Dippity wanted it sleeping as far away from his own room as possible. Dippity set down a bowl of water and a bowl of biscuits on a mat in one corner of the kitchen. The Fligimy Boobar needed to know that fresh water and food were readily available. Apparently, they got very insecure if they didn't have easy access. Dippity Uppity was ready. It was still dark outside, and so Dippity Uppity waited. He waited, and he waited, and he waited. He waited for a very long time, but finally the sun came up, it was daytime, and Dippity Uppity could go to the pet shop and collect his brand new Fligimy Boo Bar. Dippity Uppity skipped off down the road carrying the Fligimy Boo Bar lead in his hands. As he passed his neighbour's house, he saw the curtains twitch. The neighbours knew that Dippity Uppity was doing something, but they weren't quite sure what. Whatever it was, though, it was bound to be very loud, very annoying, and very ongoing, knowing Dippity Uppity. The neighbours were not impressed. They were contemplating moving away from Dippity Uppity. Dippity Uppity arrived at the pet shop to pick up his Fligimy Boo Bar. The Fligimy Boo Bar was ready and waiting. Dippity Uppity clipped on its lead and skipped off back home, with the Fligimy Boo Bar following behind. As Dippity Uppity passed his neighbour's house once again, the neighbours gasped in horror. Fligimy Boo Bars were the noisiest pets one could ever get, and they dug holes all over the place, and they stole flowers from other people's gardens. The neighbours decided that moving might require more discussion. Dippity Uppity led the Fligimy Boo Bar into his back garden. He unclipped the lead, and the Fligimy Boo Bar danced and pranced and dug and sang. The Fligimy Boo Bar was very, very happy. Dippity Uppity was glad, so glad that he rushed inside to grab his Digimy Whatsit. Whenever Dippity Uppity got really excited, he just had to let out a tune. Dippity Uppity leapt up onto his trampoline and began to bounce. As he bounced up and down, he loudly played on his Digimy Whatsit, and the Fligimy Boo Bar danced and pranced and sung some more. The neighbours slammed all their windows firmly shut. They closed the curtains, locked the door, and pretended they were somewhere else. Meanwhile, Dippity Uppity and his new Fligimy Boo Bar were having the absolute time of their lives.
That's my lot for another term. Hope you have a really cool school holiday. I'll catch you again next term. Until then, ka kite anō.
I wanna hear the one about the big old plum tree. I wanna hear the one about the giggly bumblebee. I wanna